Hey, what is going on, guys? Welcome to the Game Precast, episode 8. This is our podcast where we talk about all things gaming. Let's get right on into it. So, Mike, what have you been playing recently? Besides Cyberpunk or Back for Blood, because we'll be talking about that later.
Yep. Well, as you just said, Cyberpunk has taken up the majority of my time this past week, but I have also dabbled in Battlefield 4 a little bit. Jumped back into that with some old friends and been having a pretty good time playing some multiplayer. And besides that, a little bit of Witcher 3 last night and this morning, but nope, just mainly Cyberpunk. How about you?
I have done next to no gaming because I had some technical difficulties. I had a nice blue screen of death, then my internet kind of, shit the bed on me. So that was fun. And after troubleshooting a lot, um, through the time of troubleshooting, I was watching a lot of Parks and Rec, finished The Sopranos, so that's pretty much it for my week. Hopefully I can finish the Gears 5 DLC and then get back into Cyberpunk. But let's talk about Cyberpunk. So, a few issues. One is that there was a save corruption issue going
Yeah.
on Stadia and PC. Now, it's not like the end of the world, but it kind of is if you had an 80-hour save and your whole save gets corrupted and you didn't have any other
Yeah.
saves. So just make sure you're saving a lot. You have like 20 different options, I think, for saves. So
Yeah, you have
just
20 individual save slots, so
yeah.
just keep saving one
And
after
it seems
another.
that it's only happening on PC and Stadia. I don't know if I said that, but if you're on console, it looks like you're in the clear. But still, it's definitely concerning if you go over 8 MB. It seems when the issues start to arise. They're working on a fix, but if your save does corrupt, they're not going to be able to save it. So, just so you know. And in other news, the game has sold 13 million copies, and that is even counting all the refunds and all that. So, it
And
probably
that's
did
before
like a solid
Christmas too.
14, 15 million, and then after some refunds due to technical difficulties on the previous gen consoles, that's still a massive number. And yeah, I mean, it's doing crazy numbers on PC. I mean, they have 250,000 reviews, and majority of them are positive. Um, and this game's going to be a big seller over the holidays. So,
Oh yeah, absolutely. A lot of people are gonna get it for Christmas or get it for their kids for Christmas or just what have you.
Mike, I know
What?
you have 100% of the game. So, what would you like to add? 'Cause sure, you got a few things.
Um, well, I just kind of want to defend the game a little bit. I know it's not really gonna be popular, but I don't really care. I love it. I think it's a 10 out of 10, and let me just be clear about that. When I say it's a 10 out of 10, I mean the substance of the game itself. I'm not talking about the technical issues or the bugs or the glitches because those are inexcusable. The performance on last gen is inexcusable. This entire launch has been a disaster, and CDPR's leadership are directly responsible. And I don't want to pretend that that is not true. They definitely screwed over the consumer, lost pretty much, I would think, all of the goodwill they have garnered over the past 5 years from Witcher 3. And that's a damn shame because their dishonesty has forever skewed the public's perception of this title. And I think that is a shame because the title is fantastic. I mean, I've put 70 plus hours, around 75 hours probably into this game at this point, and I've loved every minute of it for the most part. Sure, I've had some glitches and some areas of frustration, but just compared to the overall experience, it's really minute. It doesn't matter. Um, I've just had fun with it nonstop. The gameplay to me is extremely replayable. I mean, it doesn't really get old. The combat's a lot of fun. The build variety is expansive. You can experiment and choose to really engage enemies in a large variety of different ways. From maybe even not engaging them at all, sneaking past and hacking to just destroying everything and everyone in sight with the most just obnoxious of firearms. You can really do whatever you want in this game, at least with the tools that they provide for you. It's not only a great narrative experience, but it is a pretty decently open sandbox as well. I mean, especially once you get the double jump ability, you can just traverse Night City in any manner you choose and create your own pathways. And just again leads to a lot of variety in gameplay. Just felt me reminding a lot of Metal Gear Solid 5 Phantom Pain in that way, just the way you could tackle objectives. But that's not even the main reason why I like the game because just for me, it's all about the narrative, the story. And while I don't know if it's on the same level as something like Witcher 3, I think I've had 5 years to sit and reflect on Witcher 3. I'm definitely going to need more time with Cyberpunk to come to a decision on that. But what I will say is that it's one of my favorites of all time, for sure. I mean, I've just had such a good time with it. It's kept me just locked in my seat and drawn in to the narrative the entire time. I mean, from the brilliant writing to the superb acting. I mean, come on, you got Keanu in there. Anything that man says is golden, and just all the dialogue is really written phenomenally. I mean, there are a few hiccups here and there due to, the Polish writers and some things not coming over in translation the best, but what are you gonna do? I mean, it's pretty good for what it is regarding that. I mean, besides this little translation hiccups, it's great writing. The characters are very well acted, as I've said, and just the amount of endings that you have. It's not as much as Witcher 3 because Witcher 3 had just a ridiculous amount, but this game has about 5, but that still adds quite a bit of replayability because the endings are diverse, but they're all very rewarding, except like one, which is definitely the darkest timeline, the worst possible outcome. But even that's still kind of trippy, so it's a little bit of fun to experience. Regardless, they definitely give you reasons to come back and play more. And another thing I gotta praise is the decision to stick with the first person perspective, because a lot of people were upset when they announced it was first person only, but it definitely serves the game well. I mean, most choices in the game are done through gameplay. It doesn't pull you out into a cutscene and makes you decide from an outside perspective. If it were to do that, it would be quite jarring, I feel like, because it would just break the immersion. There's one thing about Cyberpunk that I gotta say, it's the most immersive RPG I've ever played. Um, it's the way it never breaks that first person perspective, the way that you are just constantly in the moment, having to decide things on the fly feels way more intense when you are right there in that first person perspective. It's another reason why I like games, like RE7 over their predecessors, is because of that first person perspective. It puts you right on the front lines of the action. It makes you really feel like you're in that space. And that's another reason why I praise having, they do kind of have a main character in V. There is some set backstory, but for the most part, you create that character to be an empty husk for you to insert yourself into, to feel like you're in the game, that you yourself are V. And with a third person perspective, that effect wouldn't be as powerful. And I understand that still aggravates some people because you can't see the character you customize and the outfits you get, but you can on like a motorcycle and in some of the ending cutscenes. I know that's not ideal, and they probably should have added a mode where you can switch back and forth between the two camera perspectives, but I don't know. I think it serves the game better. I think they took a lot of chances with this game. I think it's very ambitious, and
Okay, guys, we are back. Mike's power went out, but we are good now. Um, so we're gonna go. Pretty much that was everything he had to say about Cyberpunk. Might be a few more little tiny details, but we've been
yeah, if
talking
I
about it
think
for the
of
last three
anything else.
weeks, so I think we're fine. So we're gonna hop on over to Back for Blood, which is essentially Left 4 Dead 3. It's a spiritual successor. It's made by the Turtle Rock guys, which was Valve South, I believe. So it's same exact team, just a few different people obviously working on it, and they're not under Valve anymore. Me and Mike played the alpha, so we are gonna talk about what we thought about it. So Mike, do you want to go first?
You can go first. I have to get my notes up on this actually
Okay,
because I
yeah,
do
you
have a
were
few things
working
written
on an
down.
article for it. So it, as I said, it's Left 4 Dead. I mean, you're gonna start off in the safe room. You can just go out into the world and you follow your path. I mean, some people enjoy playing like BO3, BO3, BO2, BO1, and World at War Zombies, and but other people like there to actually be more of a narrative, more of a path you have to follow, rather than just surviving waves. And that's what Left 4 Dead always was. Go do your objective, and you win. And that's essentially what Pack for Blood is. I mean, you go down your path, You encounter a few boss fights along the way. Uh, it's it's a good game. I mean, you have weapons around the map that you can loot. I mean, it's not as I don't want to say that it relies on the currency mechanic that it has too much, but it kind of does. I wish there was more of an emphasis on looting. It's much more focused on hey, you grab some money as you play by killing things and looting, and then you buy what you want once you get to the safe house. But still, it's a really good game. It feels like Left 4 Dead, and I mean the maps. It's just the one map, one campaign in the alpha, so we don't have much to talk about content wise. But the one map that was there was enjoyable. It had I think 4 different sections of it. Um,
Yeah, 4 stages.
yeah, and had a pretty cool finale. Mike, what do you have to talk about? What are your thoughts?
Well, I mean, you got the main gist of it out of the way, so I'm just gonna go into more technical stuff of maybe,
Yeah,
things that they need to fix or just things that I thought were highlights of the game. And the best thing for me was the gunplay. I mean, because it's essentially just an updated version of Left 4 Dead's combat. I mean, there's hit markers now. The gunplay feels a little bit heavier, weightier, but that's just, modern innovations. So it's essentially like if they never stopped making Left 4 Dead, what it would be up to at this point in time.
yeah,
It feels exactly like that. There's weapon attachments now, which are a nice feature. You can just pick up like certain assault rifles that have sights or, you know, different attachments on the muzzle or whatever. Again, just natural progression of what Left 4 Dead would have become if they never stopped making it, which is nice. And there's just more weapons and weapon types than there was in Left 4 Dead 1 and 2. There's this card system now that adds gameplay variety with slight buffs to enemies and yourself, but it's nothing extreme that shakes up the game in a major way. The gameplay is very action packed and just an all around adrenaline rush. The feeling of fighting for your survival is always present and provides a good challenge, just like it was in those games from back in the day. I mean, when me and Frank were trying to escape the final or the final chapter of the level that was in the closed alpha, we were screaming over the mic trying to get off of this steamboat or whatever we had to plant bombs on and
I
get
didn't
off
make
because
it.
yeah, he did not make it because we had one other human teammate and an AI, and the AI was useless, and I'm pretty sure died, and then the human teammate was just about as smart as that said AI,
Yeah,
and they really did nothing. So
I mean,
Frank
dude,
had
when
to
I
give
played it
his life.
after, I played another match after you got off, my friend. Um, and yeah, it's just we had the one other AI bot, and it was just as bad, maybe even worse, as in our match. Like it was just so bad. We ended up failing. We didn't even succeed at the mission.
Yeah, Bot Holly, man,
Yeah,
the
we got in
worst.
ours. We failed 2 times on the boat thing. Oh, we ran out of lives technically. We could not
Yeah,
escape the boat. We all died in the explosion.
I'm surprised me and you were able to actually succeed, even though it
Yeah.
cost you your life. I was able to get off at the last second. But yeah, no, I absolutely love this game. I'm a huge Left 4 Dead fan, and I think this really is the Left 4 Dead 3 we wanted. But I do have some slight critiques, some criticisms that do need to be brought up. You were talking about the currency system,
Yes.
and there is a major lack of ammo and health pickups due to this currency system. And I'm just going to explain how it works a little bit. So I'm just going to basically repeat what
Go
Frank
for
said
it. Go in
earlier,
detail.
but just gonna go a little bit more in depth. I'm sorry for my stutter there before. I don't know what that was, but regardless, I do think I'll be penning an article about this soon enough. So if you do want to read something about Back for Blood without my speech gaffes, you can go to thegamepreview.com. That'll be up there soon. But regardless, um, you collect currency as drops throughout the level, and then you hold on to that until you reach the next safe room, where you'll have to purchase heals and ammo, but that's only if you can afford it. Health replenishes when you reach each new safe room, but ammo doesn't. Which is abandoning the restock feature present at the end of each level from Left 4 Dead 1 and 2. And in my opinion, this is a really weird and poor design choice, and they should revert back to the old system. It just feels like an unnecessary change and maybe a case of artificial difficulty. I don't know. It just feels really unnecessary and pointless to get rid of that feature. I mean, maybe they wanted a little bit of an added challenge to try and scrounge around for currency, but honestly, I don't like that. I just want to
I don't
focus on
like it
killing
either.
zombies and focusing on surviving to the next area. I really don't understand why they made it this way. Maybe so they could differentiate between themselves and Left 4 Dead, but I don't understand why you'd want to do that. You're clearly capitalizing off of the Left 4 Dead name, whether you are calling yourself Left 4 Dead or not. You have the 4 in the title. We know who this team is. This is clearly being marketed as the unofficial Left 4 Dead 3, the spiritual successor. So I just don't understand why they would make this choice, this gameplay change. It doesn't, add to the fun. If anything, it's just like, oh, now I have to keep a lookout for coins so I can actually heal myself or have ammo to survive through the level. It's just another thing I have to look out for along with staying alive myself and keeping my teammates alive. I just don't see the gameplay benefit really. I don't.
Yeah. So, if you have anything else to add, or is that it?
Um I think that's pretty much all I have to say. But
Okay,
actually,
cool.
just a few more minor things.
Go for it.
But that really was the main thing I wanted to talk about because that messes with just like the core gameplay structure of Left 4 Dead,
Yeah.
and that's the main thing I think they need to change. And then other things which I'm sure will be ironed out because this was just a closed alpha. There's no private lobbies. Have
Yeah.
to play with the public if you don't have a full squad, which is very annoying. Um, you can't kick teammates either, which lets griefers have full reign, or just you have to deal with stupid people, which is not fun in either case. Some zombie hitboxes, and this is really in regards to the special zombie types, not just the regular zombie enemy, their hitboxes are a little bit ridiculous. So like there's this one that has a massive arm. Like they're just a regular zombie for the most part, but they just have like one massive huge arm. And he'll do kind of like an overhead slam onto the ground and he'll hit you. But the problem is he can hit the ground, a few good feet in front of you and it will still take health off and send you flying back.
Yeah.
So there's things like that they need to fix.
I mean, that's how I died on the one time on a run. He hit me, I went flying off the boat, and I went down like
Oh
three
yeah,
levels and just died because I went in the water.
that's right. And if you have any team AI, they're absolutely terrible. They
Yep.
constantly aggro hordes and just any type of enemy that's around you will never revive you, will constantly get themselves downed and then killed off. And you can save them, but they'll just go off and die again later in the level. They're completely useless. And I actually had one shoot me a few times, and there is team damage, so yeah. The bot AI is by far some of the worst team AI I've ever seen in a game like this. Definitely worse than Left 4 Dead 1 or 2. Um, that needs to be fixed. Probably first thing after this alpha closes is the team AI, and then you can work on restructuring the currency system, which I feel like the team AI will get fixed. But there's a part of me that I think they won't listen to the community on this currency system. I think it's going to stay in.
Yeah, after I guess we'll dive in a little bit into the leaks that happen. But based off a leaked file, we know that there's gonna be a lot of customization, which I have a feeling you'll be able to buy some of those coins to buy items in game. So they're probably gonna keep those coins in, based off my guess. Now we're not gonna be diving too deep into the leaks because want to give respect to the developers working on the game. But we did just want to mention a few things about them, so I will pull them up real quick. Um, so there are, hang on. So it seems like there's going to be 10 or 11 maps in the game, which I think is a pretty good amount. I mean, I can't remember what Left 4 Dead 2 launched with. Do you remember?
About 4 campaigns.
Yeah. So, I mean, if these are individual campaigns, and that is really good. I don't know if they are, or if these are all the missions. Like, if these are, I mean, could this potentially be, hang on. One,
Well, how many are there?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. There's 9 here. And not counting the one that we saw in the alpha. So I'm assuming then there's just 10,
Hmm,
which still
that's interesting. I don't know if those would all be campaigns. That'd be quite a lot of
Yeah, that's
campaigns.
what I was saying. It seems like a lot.
I mean, that would be fantastic if that's true, but that means they would have had been working on this game for quite a long time. Um,
It could
I
also
don't
be
really know.
DLC campaigns as well. Like these might be just ones that are way off and they're going to charge extra for.
That's true. They could do that.
Um,
But I mean, the game won't even be out for like 6 months, so do
yeah,
they
it's
really
coming
need
out
to
in
play
June,
that?
I believe.
Do they
Seeing
really need to start
speculates.
working on that right now?
I don't
I don't
know. But yeah, there's a few weapons here, a few characters. I'm not gonna say individual names or show pictures, but if you do want to find them, they're online. Um, but yeah, on that note, we want to talk about Nintendo's hit squads.
Hit squads, sure we can. Why
So,
not?
we'll just mention it briefly, very briefly. But Nintendo, according to a leaked document, Nintendo has pretty much FBI agents, give or take, and they are stalking people if you do anything against Nintendo. There was a guy in, I think, about 2013, 2014. He did something with the 3DS. I think he hacked, did some sort of hack, and they sent people to go spy on him. And there is a whole document talking about this dude's life, what he does every day. Um, I mean, they legit followed him to a restaurant. Uh, they mentioned that he was eating at the restaurant alone. So, and yeah, it is definitely really weird. Nintendo has always been a little bit on the anti-consumer side.
Oh yeah.
Um, yeah, and I feel like people don't talk about it enough. I know Take Two also did something very similar to this recently, but I mean, Take Two, as I think, has always been seen as a pretty shady company. People don't really expect this from Nintendo because when they think of Nintendo, they think, oh, family-friendly games. They think of Mario. They think of Animal Crossing. Yeah, they don't think of hit squads.
I mean, I don't know if we should keep calling them hit squads
Yeah, hit
because
squad's probably the wrong word.
obviously they are not hit squads, but
Stalkers is a much better
they're
name.
like goons,
Yes,
henchmen.
yes,
Uh, I mean, yeah, no, like you were saying, I mean, Nintendo's the company that's opening up a theme park, right? They make
yes.
Mario. They have the most family-friendly consoles. Everybody, every single member of the family, from the toddler to the grandparent, can join in on the fun, right? Because it's Nintendo, it's for everybody. Meanwhile, they're gonna send, people in trench coats to stalk you throughout the night. I mean,
It's
obviously that's being hyperbolic, but this stuff is, it's shady, but Nintendo's done this type of thing for a long time. Like you were saying, Take-Two did something like this when Borderlands 3 came out, and Nintendo just recently shut down I Joy-Con skins that were going to like a mental
it
health
was some sort
awareness
of charity thing.
charity.
Yeah,
Yeah,
they shut down some other event that they were doing. The fans were
yeah,
doing
like
for
a
a game.
Smash
Yeah,
Bros.
Smash.
Tournament. They are pretty terrible to their consumer base, and again, they're not consumer friendly. I would even wager to say they're pretty anti-consumer,
Yeah,
and
I mean,
this is
I think Animal Crossing was the game that didn't even have cloud saves, and like, not having cloud saves is one thing, but the fact that you weren't even able to get your save, like say your Nintendo Switch broke, like you were just like screwed out of your save, or if you got like a new Switch, you're just screwed of it. Like if you had the Switch Lite, I think it was called, you couldn't
yeah.
access your old save. Like you had to just you were shit out of luck, and like things like that in 2020 should not be happening. Um,
Yeah, and then they started this generation having to pay for online, which is kind of ridiculous. I know Microsoft started that and Sony hopped on and now Nintendo hopped on, but Nintendo really does nothing for that service. I mean, like
yeah,
what? You can play NES games? Like, cool, man. I still have an NES. Like,
I mean
what?
at least it's cheaper, but still,
But still, I mean, these games are sometimes decades old.
yeah,
We don't need necessarily that. We need, more to validate the price point because for 20 bucks a year, it really isn't worth it. Maybe if they add N64 games, I know they have SNES games on there now. I don't know if there's GameCube games on there. I'm not really on my Switch that much, but I don't think there are. But if they had GameCube and N64 emulation, that'd be great. But I don't think they will because now they're coming out with collections like 3D All Stars and not adding the,
Even that was
virtual console
anti-consumer.
back. Yeah, it was because it's
Making
only being
that, oh
sold
yeah,
for
it's a limited
6
time, and then
months,
you never been able to buy. Like, what the fuck, dude? Come on.
and there's no virtual console now because they're doing these
Yeah, and they're
re-release.
also they're emulated versions again. So I don't think they're even like remaking these games. Like they're just emulated
Oh,
versions, and they're charging full price for them, and they're just I don't
no,
know.
and they're slightly up res, and I do like how you can, like, have whichever game's soundtrack, swapped in whatever game you're playing, so, like, you could listen to Sunshine's soundtrack in Galaxy or vice versa.
Yeah,
Um And that's pretty cool, but I mean, again, I would still prefer a virtual console like the Wii U had,
yeah,
which is a really good feature, even though the Wii U gets a lot of shit, and rightfully so. Sometimes, they did have some good features on that console.
yeah. Okay.
But
I do also want to mention that there is a Steam sale going on. The winter sale just started today. Um, I don't know if there's anything that you directly want to talk about it. And I remember seeing Control
Control's
Ultimate Edition for
great.
$20, which I mean, if you want to talk about controversy there, sure, but it's still a good game, and there's still really good DLC. So I would definitely recommend checking that out for $20. Witcher 3
Sekir
for
yeah, no.
$13. Come on, if you haven't played The Witcher 3 yet, $13, go do it right now.
In Witcher
DLCs are amazing
2
as well. Witcher 2 for $3, always
Witcher 2 is an incredible game. I mean, what do you got here? You got Sekiro for 39 bucks. That's a steal. I mean, Sekiro's fantastic. You just got to have the will to persevere and beat it. Destroy All Humans remake is about 10 bucks off. That game was an absolute blast to play through, and I hope they continue the franchise. Wrote an article about that earlier this year. Greedfall is a pretty decent RPG if you got nothing else to play right now.
It's
It's
also
about
on Game
half
Pass. I
off.
just got at it.
Is it? That's right. I did see that earlier. RDR2 is 40 bucks on here, so if you wanted to try out the PC version for mods or what have you. Jedi Fallen Order is 24 bucks. That should have won Best Adventure Game or whatever is nominated for at the Game Awards.
Action.
Yeah, Remnant from the Ashes is about half off. Dark Souls with guns is about as fun as it sounds, and that is the game for it. Um, Assassin's Creed Odyssey, 2018's entry into the long-running franchise is going to run you about $18 during the sale, which isn't too bad, but Valhalla's out now, so you might
Yeah.
not have much interest in
Resident Evil
that.
7, $10. That's always a steal.
Best horror game ever made,
Yes.
absolute steal. And Death Stranding is half off, and if you like a low-key game that really isn't going to take much effort or brain power and something you just want to play to relax, or if you want a long, winding narrative that's rewarding, I mean, that is the game for you, and it is beautiful every second of it. So that's half off. Halo the Master Chief Collection, you got Halos 1 through 4, 3 ODST, and Reach all remastered with 120 FPS multiplayer, or 4K 60 FPS, just wherever or however much your PC can handle. That's about 24 bucks right now, 40% off. That's an absolute steal,
Mafia
especially
Definitive
since,
Edition, I think it's 25% off. That is a great game. One of the
yeah,
best remakes that came out this year.
oh, by far, by far. I mean, only second to Demon Souls in my
Yes.
opinion. But Titanfall 2 is about $10. That game's multiplayer is a lot of fun. A lot of fun. Got overshadowed by Battlefield and Infinite Warfare, which blame EA for that, for releasing it when they did. But that campaign is actually pretty great as well. A lot of fun. Um, but yeah, pretty much everything that you can think of is on sale for the most
Yeah.
part right now. I mean, Hades is 5 bucks off. I might pick that up myself because I've been wanting to play it. Um, Second Extinction, I know that was advertised for Series X. I think that's out on early access now, 5 bucks off, but I don't know about that one, folks. Play at your own risk. But yeah, I mean they have a lot of good stuff. Metro Exodus, which I haven't beaten yet. I need to. That's on sale for $16.
Great game. Loved it. And the
Total
DLC is really good too.
The most recent Total War, Three Kingdoms, that's about half off for 30. I mean, Total War is always pretty good, and I know they added a dueling system in Three Kingdoms. That's pretty interesting, so I might pick that up myself too. Uh, Yakuza Like a Dragon is 45. Great JRPG if you like turn-based combat, but if even if you don't, I mean, it's still pretty fast-paced for turn-based. I mean, you'll like it. And Mortal Kombat 11. Only $15. I mean, I never really advise getting fighting games on PC because I love couch co-op and I definitely play most of my fighting games couch co-op with friends. But, if you're a solo guy that either likes, the story because the story is great, or you just like the towers or the online multiplayer, it's steal for 15. But Devil May Cry 5 for 20, one of the best hack and slashes ever made. Star Wars Battlefront 2, the EA version that is, for 12. That game has a ton of content now and is a very fun multiplayer FPS or third person shooter. Um, Horizon Zero Dawn is 40. Not my personal cup of tea, to be honest, but I know a lot of people love that game, and now I imagine it runs beautifully on PC. And Outer Worlds half off for 30, another great Obsidian RPG, essentially Fallout in space.
Yes.
Gears 5, $10, or you can get it with Game Pass. Gears
Yeah, a lot of
Tactics,
these games are on Game
$30.
Pass.
You can get it on Game Pass. I mean, yeah, pretty much just browse the sale to your heart's content. I mean, whatever genre you're interested in, they'll have something for you.
All right. Well, on that note, I think that is all we have to talk about today. Wasn't really that
Yeah,
crazy of a week. Just
no, mainly just Cyberpunk stuff.
yeah,
All about Cyberpunk. I mean, and rightfully so. I mean, just what a shitstorm that's been.
yeah,
I mean, we can be a little bit vulgar here. I mean, it's just unbelievable the tumultuous launch that game has had. Uh,
yeah. But better times are on the horizon.
they are, and to be honest, like I said, I didn't really experience all these glitches that people are saying are game breaking, ruining their experience. I loved every second of my time in Cyberpunk for the most part. I just is by far the most immersive RPG I've ever played, and I love it. I think I'm actually gonna start a second character tonight and get back
Oh,
at it.
hopefully I could restart my playthrough tonight. I think I'll be able to
Yeah.
beat Gears 5 today. I think that's only like an hour left or something like that.
Are you
But
playing that solo?
yeah,
I think I might start that. I think I might do that. Install it on Series X, check out the enhancements, and yeah, get on through it. Are there achievements for the High Busters thing?
yes,
All right, then yeah, definitely do it.
yeah. There are definitely achievements. I've gotten a few on my phone. I get the little notification.
Yeah, I don't anymore because I updated the app and now it's useless. You can't track your achievements. You can't view your clips anymore. You can't see the activity feed.
Wait, you don't
It's
get the
just
notifications anymore?
no, I get nothing. It's such a garbage app now,
Did they
and I
change?
really
Like I'm on Samsung, so I don't know. I get notifications in my app. I don't.
well, whatever they have on iOS is garbage, and I
Damn,
really dislike it. And they just took features away. The new Xbox app is so buns.
that is a
But
major
what are you
L.
gonna do?
What are you gonna do? As Tony
What are you
Soprano would
gonna
say, what are you gonna
do?
do? All right, guys. So on that note, we're gonna end it here. Thank you guys for watching, and we will see you next week.
See you next week, everyone.